Two women are perfect strangers. One lives in Dallas and the other in Berlin, Germany. And they agreed to swap houses, and boy, are they going to regret it. Best-selling author and Dallas native Amy Poeppel returns home, both fictionally and literally, for her fifth novel. And before her book signing event at Interabang Books, Amy is here to take us inside the pages of Far and Away. Good morning.
Good morning. Thanks for having me.
So glad to have you here. So let's dive right in. Who are Lucy and Greta, and what's going on in their lives that lead them to actually swap houses?
So Lucy is a Dallas native, just like me, and her son gets embroiled in a pretty tricky scandal at his school. It's so bad that he ends up being unable to graduate from high school the night before graduation.
Oh, no.
So it's a bit of a catastrophe in that Holt household. And Greta is living in Berlin, Germany. And her husband has sort of shocked her by telling her that they are not moving to New York City as planned for a year, but they're going to Dallas. And after a couple of martinis and a few bouts of miscommunication, the two women end up agreeing to swap homes without reading any of the fine print.
Oh my goodness. You know what? Martinis, they will do that.
That will do that.
They're pretty convincing. Now tell me how a math formula enters this equation.
So the boy, Jack, who gets in all the trouble, is a very excellent math student. And he creates this formula, and I don't want to give too many spoilers, but it ends up being completely misconstrued and misunderstood, and it looks a lot worse than it actually is. So Jack gets in deep trouble due to math, in part because the math is so complicated that not everybody understands what he's done. I am not a math person.
Me neither.
So this was a challenge for me. I'm lucky enough to live in NYU faculty housing in New York City, and the head of the math department is right down the hall from me, and my nephew is a PhD student in math, so I had a lot of support.
Wow. Okay, so you had a lot of help when it comes to this book, even
I always
down
do.
to the little things. So
Yes.
I want to talk a little bit about those little things, right? Because the Dallas portion is set in Preston Hollow, which I'm sure you guys are pretty familiar with. So what other Dallas Easter eggs can we find in the book?
You'll find little references to Doherty's Pharmacy, Preston Royal Shopping Center, the Tollway, of course. Just some of the great restaurants are mentioned in it. The Dallas Museum of Art is mentioned, the National Sculpture Garden. I did live here for the first 17 years of my life, and I have a real soft spot in my heart for Dallas. So I wanted to work as much of the people and the places as I possibly could.
But also the little places that meant a lot to you, right?
Exactly.
Especially in those first 17 years.
Exactly.
So tell me, because when you're swapping houses with someone who lives in Berlin, Germany, and someone who lives in Dallas, Texas, here in the United States, there's obviously going to be some culture shocks, maybe even a few surprises. And so tell me a little bit, without giving too much, some of the challenges that the families face.
Yeah, so I think I just leaned on the fact that Germans are known to be a bit more formal, a bit more reserved. And Texans are known to be quite friendly. I mean, Janice at the front door when I walked in today just was the nicest person I think I've ever met in my life.
You know what? Can I just say Janice deserves every shout out under the sun. She is the woman that sits at our front desk and lets all of our guests in, and she's the kindest woman. So thank you for saying her name.
When she said good morning to me, I was like, this is why I wanted to write about Dallas. Like, it's that kind of interaction that you don't get as much of that kind of thing in Germany. These are stereotypes, of course, but it is true that there's a formality about Germans that I just wanted to take these people and put fish out of water story, just put them in a culture and an environment that is going to take them by surprise and maybe change them.
You know what? Like I said, I'm so glad that you mentioned Miss Janice, because you're right. The aura of Dallas does have that big community feel, and you can feel it as soon as you move here, honestly. And so tell me, because Southern Living just called her book, you guys, the best new beach read of the summer. Obviously, it's raining today, so it's a good day to read today as well. But how does that make you feel to have that accolade?
It's pretty exciting. I only started writing novels about 10 years ago, and Far and Away is my fifth now. So it's a new career for me at sort of the ripe old age of almost 60 years old now. So to shift my career and to actually meet with some success with that is just an absolute thrill.
Oh my goodness. Okay, so now that you're back in the city, anything that you absolutely had to do now that you're in your hometown?
Well, honestly, it's so funny because I live in New York City, and everyone says, oh, that must be so fun because the food is so good in New York. And I always tell people, when I want really good food, I go to Dallas. The restaurants are so good here, and it doesn't matter if it's sushi or Mexican food or Italian food. I just can never get over the quality of the restaurants in Texas.
Well, you know what? We do have a very good variety, but also our area is so diverse, right? That we get a little bit of everything, and we get it authentically at that. So it's so beautiful out here that we get to have that opportunity to really dive into other food cultures out here. So how would you describe your writing style? Would you say you have any rituals that you just have to do in order to get you in that writing mode?
So I feel as though I can write pretty much anywhere. As long as I have my laptop with me, I can write. But I do tend to do a pretty deep dive into the material when I'm working. So what's best for me is to sort of block off a 3-week, 4-week period where I don't see a lot of people, I don't do a lot of things. I'm pretty much just in my pajamas with my laptop and my dog, and just get the work done. And then I'll realize it's time for some community, it's time to socialize, it's time to go see friends, and I'll sort of come out of it for a bit and then go back in.
You know what? That's a very good idea. Submerge yourself, get the work done, and then have the fun.
Exactly.
I love it. Amy, thank you so much for stopping by, and welcome home.
Thank you. I'm so happy to be here. Thanks a lot.
So glad you're here. As I mentioned earlier, Amy does have a discussion and book signing event tonight at Interabang Books in Dallas. It starts at 6 p.m. So if you don't have anything going on, this is your plans for this evening. Be sure to check out her website at amypoeppel.com.